What would you do if someone ripped away your kid's lifeline to the world, all because they were obsessed with their own petty rules? Picture this: your daughter, a brilliant teen fighting a disability, is about to shine on a global stage, and some power-hungry HOA tyrant decides to pull the plug literally. That's the nightmare I lived through when our neighborhood's self-appointed queen cut off our internet right as my daughter was set to compete in the International Math Olympiad finals. Let me tell you how it all went down, and how it turned our quiet Denver suburb upside down. I'm Sarah Mitchell, but everyone just calls me Sarah. I'm a computer science professor at the University of Colorado, raising my 17-year-old daughter, Emily M., to her friend's son my own. We moved to Pine View Estates, a fancy community with mountain views and tree-lined streets, about a year and a half ago. After years in a cramped apartment near campus, I wanted Em to have space, accessibility, and a calm place to focus. Em has osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. She's had over 30 fractures in her life and gets around in a wheelchair. But her physical struggles? They've never dimmed her incredible mind. At 5, she was cracking algebra like it was a puzzle game. By 12, she was breezing through college-level calculus. Now, at 17, she's one of the youngest ever picked for the U.S. International Mathematical Olympiad team, the only girl, and the only one with a disability. Em attends school online because of her condition. The internet isn't just a tool for her, it's her classroom, her social life, her bridge to a global community of math geeks who see her for her genius, not her wheelchair. When we settled into Pine View, I made sure we had the best high-speed internet money could buy. I even got a fancy router with a backup generator and had a cable run from the street to our house, plus a small signal booster on the roof. That setup, though, was about to land us in hot water. Enter Helen Baxter, the 70-something HOA president who ran Pine View like her personal kingdom. With her silver hair pinned up, pearl earrings, and a constant frown, Helen was old school to the core. She'd been lording over the HOA for 15 years, obsessed with what she called the neighborhoods. VY Soul Harmony. Our first run-in came a week after we moved in. I was out front with the internet tech finishing the setup when Helen marched up, clutching her clipboard like a weapon. "What's this?" she demanded, skipping any pleasantries. I explained Em's need for reliable internet for her VY ritual school and competitions. Her lips tightened into a thin line as she scribbled something down. "External cables and roof DVYCS need HOA approval," she said, pointing to some vague rule in the covenant I'd supposedly signed. I mentioned I'd submitted the forms online. "Digital submissions aren't valid," she snapped. "We require physical copies, in triplicate." The HOA handbook actually pushed for eco-friendly digital submissions, but Helen didn't care. I promised to get her the paperwork, but she insisted the installation stop right then. The tech chimed in, saying halting now would mess up the connection. "Rules are rules," Helen barked. I stepped in, told the tech to finish, and promised Helen I'd cover any fines. Her eyes narrowed, but she backed off, muttering about an architectural review meeting I'd better prepare for. That night, I told them about it, trying to laugh it off. She wasn't amused. "This lady sounds like she's stuck in 1950, she said, adjusting her glasses. "Does she not get that I need the internet to, exist?" I assured her we'd handle it. I had no idea how wrong I'd be. Over the next few months, Helen made it her mission to nitpick our excessive tech use. She hated the backup satellite dish, claiming it ruined the neighborhood's roofline aesthetic. She sent violation notices for UPS deliveries of Em's math simulation gear. Once, she even complained about Em's adaptive desk being visible through our window. Every time, I explained Em's situation. Every time, Helen brushed it off with, "Everyone has challenges, but rules apply to all." Our neighbor, Tom Harper, a retired NASA engineer, was our saving grace. In his 50s, with wild white hair and wire-rimmed glasses, Tom looked like the genius he was. He'd worked on Mars rover software and now tinkered with robotics, mentoring kids like Em. They hit it off over fractals and coding. When he heard about Helen's crusade, he was livid. "That woman's a tech dinosaur," he said one evening, helping Em with an algorithm. "She uses a flip phone and thinks Wi-Fi gives her migraines." Tom wasn't wrong. As the IMO loomed a global math showdown where the brightest teens tackle insane problems, Helen's meddling got worse. Em was one of 6 U.S. competitors, training online for weeks with coaches and teammates. Our house was a math war zone, whiteboards plastered with equations. 2 days before the finals, Helen slapped us with a notice accusing us of running a business because of Em's excessive internet activity. She demanded we stop all commercial activity. I called her, barely keeping my cool. "This isn't a business. Em's competing in the IMO. It's like the Olympics for math." Helen wasn't impressed. "Covenants ban commercial or educational activities from homes," she said. "She should do this at school." I explained Em's virtual schooling and disability. "Rules apply equally," Helen replied, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "That's fairness." I reached out to the HOA board, and while some were supportive, they warned Helen had near total control. One board member, an older guy named George, suggested laying low until after the competition. It sounded reasonable. The finals were in 2 days. Surely, we could dodge Helen's radar. I was dead wrong. The morning of the IMO finals, Em was ready. She'd aced the prelims, solving brain-bending problems in algebra and number theory. The 6-hour exam started at 8 a.m., demanding total focus and a rock-solid connection. By 7:45, Em was at her desk, surrounded by pencils and her custom keyboard. I'd made her favorite breakfast pancakes with pi symbols in the batter and a thermos of hot cocoa. At 7:50, the internet died. I thought it was a glitch. I rebooted the router, checked the backup systems, even tried our cellular hotspot. Nothing. Em stayed calm, but her voice was tight. "Mom, it starts in 10 minutes. I called our pro durno outages. The rep was baffled. At 7:58, with 2 minutes left, the doorbell rang. There stood Helen, smirking. "Good morning, Sarah," she said, all fake sweetness. "I notice your internet's been temporarily suspended." My stomach dropped. "You did this? Today?" Her smile didn't budge. "The HOA can restrict SER VYCS VYOLATing covenants. Your unauthorized educational activities." I cut her off. "My daughter's representing the US in a global competition starting in 90 seconds. This is cruel. Rules are rules," she said like it was her life's motto. "Maybe this'll encourage Emily to pursue more suitable hobbies." Before I could explode, Tom appeared, hauling a small satellite dish. "Morning, Sarah," he said, breezing past Helen. "Em texted me about the internet. I've got just the fix." Helen sputtered, but Tom waved her off. "I'm here at the Homeowners in Tation for emergency aid. Covenant Article 5, Section 3. Inside, he set up a military-grade hotspot he'd built for remote ops. "Connects to a private satellite," he told them. "Log in with this password." Em's screen lit up with the competition platform, 15 seconds to spare. She was in. Helen was still in my levying room, ranting about unauthorized equipment. Then a new voice cut through. "What's unacceptable is targeting a disabled student in violation of the ADA." A woman stood in the doorway, late 30s, sharp suit, briefcase in hand. "Laura Bennett, new neighbor," she said. "I'm a disability rights attorney. I couldn't help overhearing this. Interesting situation." She handed Helen her card. "I'd love to see the rule letting an HOA cut off a homeowner's utilities, especially when it harms a disabled minor. Sounds like a fun lawsuit." Helen's face went white. I slipped away to check on Em, who was deep in her math zone. When I returned, Helen was levying, her smugness gone. "This isn't over," she muttered. "Oh, I think it is," Laura called after her. Laura had overheard the drama while walking her dog and knew HOAs like this thrived on bullying. For the next 6 hours, Em crushed the exam while Tom kept the connection steady. By afternoon, she was done, stretching in her chair. That combinatorics problem was brutal, but I nailed it with generating functions, she said, grinning. While Em worked, I wasn't idle. With Laura's help, I documented Helen's harassment, from petty notices to the internet's sabotage. Tom confirmed our signals were jammed a federal offense. We also found proof Helen ignored similar violations by others, like a neighbor's ham radio tower. George, the board member, shared records of her selective enforcement. Neighbors started dropping by, sharing their own Helen horror stories, like fines for a wheelchair ramp and ADA violation. By morning, Em's results were in: Indy VY dual gold medal, U.S. team second overall. A local news crew interviewed her, and she casually mentioned the internet's sabotage. Some people think a wheelchair means I'm less capable, she told them. Others think girls can't do math. I love proving them wrong. The story went viral, with Helen's grim face splashed across headlines as she left an emergency HOA meeting. That meeting was her downfall. Laura's legal threats, Tom's EVY denke, ADA violations, and brutal publicity led the board to boot Helen unanimously. But the story didn't end there. Pine VYEW changed. The HOA rewrote its rules to protect disabled residents' tech and accessibility needs, with M at VY Sing. Tom started a tech mentorship program, and even Helen signed up, grudgingly learning to use a smartphone. Laura launched a legal resource network for residents. Helen, to everyone's shock, apologized. She admitted her strictness came from a misguided sense of equality, shaped by her own granddaughter's disability. To make amends, she helped create a STEM scholarship for disabled students, with M leading the committee. Pine VYEW became a model for inclusive communities. M got offers from MIT, Stanford, and Princeton, and her app for disabled math students scored major funding. I learned that one voice against injustice can spark a revolution. Helen's sabotage, as awful as it was, exposed flaws, united us, and made Pine VYEW better even for her. M's now eyeing a double major in math and disability studies, determined to make STEM open to all. As she says, the best equations work for everyone, not just the typical ones.